positivity, motivation, never settle for average. You know, we do it over here. And I just want to talk about responsibilities and accountability in life. There are a lot of things that we can look at throughout history and say, hey man, that wasn't right. You know, we didn't get a fair share as far as our ancestors with this or with that, or this is by design. But I always look at it as, once I come into conscious awareness of situations which have been strategically put in motion, my job is to figure out how I can better navigate those situations and build a better situation for my family.
And are willing to work, but it's just the way it's set up. The mother and the children are better off if the husband isn't working or if the husband isn't there. And this breaks up so many poor families.
One of the saddest things is that many of the children whose parents are on welfare will in their turn end up in the welfare trap when they grow up. In this public housing project in the Bronx, New York, 3/4 of the families are now receiving welfare payments.
Well, Mr. Brown wanted to keep away from this kind of thing for a very good reason. The people who get on welfare lose their human independence and feeling of dignity. They become subject to the dictates and whims of their welfare supervisor, who can tell them whether they can live here or there, whether they may put in a telephone, what they may do with their lives. They're treated like children, not like responsible adults. And they're trapped in the system. Maybe a job comes up that looks better than welfare, but they're afraid to take it, because if they lose it after a few months, it may be 6 months or 9 months before they can get back onto welfare. And as a result, this becomes a self-perpetuating cycle, rather than simply a temporary state of affairs.
I mean, I feel that a lot of people want to one-up the next person on their victimhood or what they had to go through or how hard it was for them. And a lot of these people, if they've never traveled to maybe another country and seen what's really poverty and, you know, lack of opportunity, they have no clue. I was looking at a video and it was showing Mumbai, India. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct. And they were showing what people have to do to try to catch a train for work. And I saw another video where it showed some young people, children actually, in Africa, Kenya, and they were lining up for food, and you know, and they're still over there creating, coming up with ideas, being inventive, not losing hope. And when I feel like I may be challenged, I think about my lowest points in my life when I was in prison, and I would be thinking like, God, man, I'm not getting out of here until the changing of a decade. And then I talked to somebody who'd been down 20 and they're halfway through their sentence, they got another 20. And I'd be like, wow, man, that shit is crazy. This guy's been down 20 years and he's got maybe, 18 left. And this person would be working in a factory in prison. Now, you're locked up, you've done all this time. He probably got locked up when he was in his early 20s. Now he's in his 40s. He's not getting out till he's damn near 60. How is that person going to be competitive in the workplace? How is he going to be able to function? How is he going to be able to actually make a living for himself. He's institutionalized. And, the same way that person becomes institutionalized in prison, people become institutionalized on the street. They get locked into a certain mind state, and then they're scared to take chances as far as maybe be entrepreneurial or try something outside the norm, because if it doesn't work, they don't know if they can, handle not having that stability. And in prison, you got guys that get a bunch of time, but they're not even entertaining the thought of challenging the charges against them. Looking up things in a law library, trying to figure out whether or not they were railroaded. And a lot of that probably comes from lack of education. And second, a lot of it probably comes from a lot of inferiority complexes that these guys have when it comes to dealing with anything of authority. They feel that they're not on par, so they just kind of settle for whatever they've been told. And I've always been the type of person where I don't just accept face value what somebody tells me. I'm not gonna allow somebody to dictate to me what I can and can't do. Even if something may seem out of my lane, I still try to figure out a way to make it make sense. And that's why I always go and challenge myself with things that are out of my comfort zone. And I talk about that a lot, and I've mentioned it to you guys before, that you got to get used to being out of your comfort zone. And if you are content, then you will never maximize or reach your full potential while you're here breathing this air. You will just be pretty much existing. And I've never been one of those type of people content on just existing. I've always been somewhat frustrated because my ambitions exceed sometimes the thoughts or the mind state of those around me. So it appears that I am talking in a foreign language because these people don't seem to have the same drive. So I've always been searching. I've always been searching for my tribe, my circle, my clique. And it doesn't stop. You get into your 30s, 40s, and you're thinking, wow, I still don't have a lot of close friends. Maybe you have one or two friends from high school. And the thing about high school, a lot of those people were your friends by default because you lived in the same neighborhood. But at the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily mean that you had all these different goals and things in common. A lot of times, if you go to college and you meet other people and they're ambitious and from different parts of the country, you guys, partner up and maybe create some other type of business, or, sometimes people in your neighborhood because you live in the same community, you have similar hobbies, but you have to find like minds, and you can't point the finger or make excuses or blame, oh my God, because I'm black, or because I was born over here, or because of this. And that's what they want you to buy into. And it's all, relates back to Lyndon B. Johnson when they created the welfare system, when they, got the fathers out of the home and they were able to create a sense of dependency by a minority group of blacks, where they felt like, hey, this assistance is going to help me get ahead. But once they got it, they really got into a state of complacency, and then it just perpetuated. And then now you couldn't continue to have it if the man was around. And so all this stuff, all of it relates, and it comes out in a lot of the conversations through the programming, and then when you find out where it comes from, it all, you can say, oh, okay, I see. They really, they meaning those who don't really want you competing against them, want you to feel like you're dependent on them for your position, and therefore you never really push yourself or challenge yourself to the next level, which, when you do, you realize that there's a lot of other things that are opportunistic, that aren't, in so much the music industry or sports or, things of, physical abilities. There's a lot of intellectual things out there, and there, there's nothing stopping any of you from being a doctor or lawyer. It's just time. It's not like the NBA where you gotta, go to a tryout and do this and do that. I mean, as far as an engineer, architect, it's just a matter of studying. All you gotta do is study, man. You want to build cars? All you gotta do is learn about cars. Nobody's stopping you at your home from building cars or getting into real estate. Nobody's stopping you. So excuses, man, and people who sit around and complain and talk about other races all day and feel like it makes them feel better, but they're still sitting in the same dirty ass house, same old ass shoes, same broken ass cars in the front yard. I mean, man, that's loser mentality shit, man. Loser mentality to sit around and gossip about, some phantom race or people that are holding you back when you're just a lazy, blowed out, non-driven, just lard. Get off your ass, man. Get out here and make it happen. Put yourself around people who think and who get out here and hustle. Bogart your way into some shit. I love going places and people look at me like, ooh, what are you doing here? And what do you do? Yeah, what do you do? I ain't worried about what you're really doing, and you shouldn't worry about what I'm doing. Just know that I'm here, and I'm about to put the smash down, because that's what I do. I come through and I smash. I learned the game. I regurgitate it to my closest associates, and we strategize, and we come back and we step it up a whole nother notch. But ain't no excuses over here, man. No matter how much shit I've got into in my life, I realize I've got to get myself out of it. At the end of the day, there's no blame game. I can't, say, hey, because of this, because of that, and oh, they put drugs in the hood. Oh, this over here, teenage pregnancy. Oh, black this. Man, look, man, ain't that shit, man. It's yeah. I know some people got it harder than others, but what you do is you got to realize you ain't got it as hard. There's people who have it harder. You may have it hard, so okay, deal with it. Stop crying, get your ass up and deal with it. But there's people that have it harder. Oh man, you got 10, you're sitting in the feds. Oh man, I got 120 months. This dude had 260 months. God damn, 340 months. Well, how much time is that? 340 divided by 12. Ooh, yeah. So I'm like, man, I gotta, stop looking around and worried about my situation and figure out how to, make the most of where I'm at so I can get out here and be better. Yeah, I lost a whole decade, a chunk of time just disappeared, but I try to utilize that time to the best of my ability. So when I got out, I could create fresh out. I can, educate some of the young people because they got them walking around here like zombies, doing stupid shit, these dumbass gangster rappers, talking about you corny if you want to go to school, if you want to be educated, you're square if you're not out here in the streets. Well, be a square, man. Be corny, be a square. Don't worry about getting a ghost gun or Draco. When it comes time for you to need to get some type of legal firearm, go get you a permit, do it the right way. Man, look, let them cornballs go to jail. They got them up in there thinking it's all fun and games with the cell phones, the spreads. See, they're letting all those videos come through because they want you guys to think that this shit is fly. Being up in there is not that bad. You got your homies, you're making videos, you're You're doing whatever, sexting over the text and messaging, but you up in there and you're programmed to be a cell dweller. They got you out the way. You're not buying property. You're not taking care of your kids. You're not being a son. You're not being a father. You're not being a brother. You're up in there, and the cycle continues. And you bought into it because these dumbass gangster rappers who keep telling you like, oh man, this and that, and these videos they're letting go through, that you see these dudes up in prison like they up in there having it going on, and oh, they balling, they got the cell decorated. You decorating a cell, nigga. A cell. You ain't decorating no 8,000 square foot house. You ain't out here building no compound. You decorating a cell, and you making it seem like it's cool. So like, it's not that bad. It's disgusting, man. That's disgusting, man, how they program the youngsters and they think it's fly. They up in there, oh man, dude, I never buffed my cell. I never was polishing the sink. I hated that place. I had a vision board and I used to look at my magazines and say, one day I'm out of here. But that shit, man, that's the government shit. That's the state shit. F that shit, man. Up in here like it's a party. Man, I ate for survival. I did things for survival. I did what I had to do for survival, but it wasn't up in there. It's not like it's a party. It ain't like, oh, I'm excited to see people in there. It was not that type of situation. It was horrible. You study, you try to do what you do, but I could have been doing studying if I would have gotten in trouble. I could have been doing the same studying on the street, man. So I'm telling you right now, quit making excuses. Do what you got to do while you're free, while you have the opportunity, rather than wait until you get caught up in the situation and you look like a jackass and then you're crying, wanting somebody to come visit you way out in the middle of nowhere, and you're blaming white supremacy. You're blaming white privilege. But you the one with the gun running around, preying on your, people that look just like you, doing dumb shit, and then you want to make excuses. But nobody stopped you from doing research on your phone, from opening up an eBay store. Nobody stopped you from learning how to start an LLC. Nobody stopped you from learning how to create a credit line or any of these things. But you were saying that you are being somehow discriminated against. Man, shut the hell up, man. BigHerc916. Go to BigHerc916.com. Pick up some merch. I get down with that art, man. Got that classic Richard Pryor. I got a bunch of other pieces on there. Holler at me, man. And, we can make it happen.
Are you tired of smelling funky? Have you lost your ad? Go to BigHerc916.com.
Officially, I only got one real spanking my entire life. My mom did the best a 14-year-old could do, raising me with love and instilling values that will last a lifetime. I was a straight-A student and lived to make her happy. So how did I go astray? A horrible stepdad that stole my self-worth and invoked fear turned me into a person that I struggled to overcome. From skateboarding to selling drugs, gangbanging in juvenile hall, I got caught the same way many young promising men get caught up. I struggled to find my identity, getting mixed up in shootouts, crime, and the adult entertainment industry. This roller coaster continued as I juggled college, hustling, and Hollywood, eventually catching a federal bank robbery case. I found redemption in prison while serving a 120-month federal sentence and came out a man on a mission. I became a social media influencer with over 500 million views on YouTube and a life coach mentoring people all over the world. This is my journey against all odds.